Hello and welcome in. Okay, interesting. My bot is actually welcoming other bots. Okay, yeah, welcome in to our last podcast recording for the year, and I originally wanted to, or not I wanted, I thought about basically doing a recap, but I am actually planning on doing a recap now on January 3rd, since that will be the next time I am planning to do a podcast recording. So, and during the next 2 weeks, I don't think that there will be a lot of news in regards to technology updates and so on, since we will have the Christmas holidays, and yeah, therefore I am going to do on the third episode on what highlights there were in 2021 and what's coming up in 2022. And yeah, we actually have some nice topics for today. As always, you can find the show notes and links for the topics that I will be discussing today on my blog, and yeah, I just posted the show notes command, the show notes for today, and I can actually quickly switch to my screen share. That's the right page. Perfect. Screen share. So, today we'll be discussing the log4shell exploit that has been wreaking havoc during the last week. Then Dell's concept Luna and Microsoft's collaboration with iFixit, which both harken back to the topic of right to repair, which we had during the last few episodes already. So we will revisit that topic as well. And I saw an interesting news over at Road to VR for the Simula One, which is a Linux VR headset, also VR and AR, if I got it right, that is basically running a specialized Linux VR window manager, and it's dedicated for developers. So we'll have a look at that. And basically, like last week, triggered by yesterday's WAN show episode, I will be discussing again the topic of app development and the experiences with the different app stores, because the experience that was described in yesterday's WAN show was pretty interesting again, and so I want to revisit that topic. As always, you can find the links to the articles and the WAN show episode down below in the post. In other news on my end, this week? Was it this week? Yeah, it was this week. I started to release clips or segments of the podcast on YouTube as separate videos, because a lot of people don't like the long form content. So I thought I will just chop the episodes up into smaller segments and release them on a schedule, so they are easy to find, and probably due to the YouTube algorithm, they will be also more recognized, and I actually can already see in my numbers that the view counts on my YouTube are actually rising through that, and I hope that we will have more people joining the live recordings, so we can have some nice Q&As basically after the recordings in the future, because I of course want to interact with the community, and I am interested in hearing your takes on it. Oh, I was showing the wrong article here. It was already on December 11th. It was actually last week where I started with the segments. Yeah, and I also started the Discord for the community to exchange information. You can also get the direct link here. I also added a comment for that, so if you like to stay in touch, get updates, then you can join the Discord as well. You're getting notified about new releases there as well, and and you will also get notified when I go live. So that's actually not working, as I just recognized last week it was not working yet, so today it is. That's a plus. And so let's get back to this scene. So this year was pretty rough and ups and downs for everyone, I think, and the conclusion this year now has some intriguing topics. So I would suggest that we just go directly into today's recording. So bear with me to get everything ready, and we will start discussing today's topics. Let's switch the scene. Music. Okay. There we go. Yeah, welcome back to another episode of my technology podcast. Today, it's the last one for 2021. Nevertheless, I have some intriguing topics for you today. We are going to start off with the whole log4shell situation. Then we'll discuss two topics in the arena of right to repair, that is Dell's concept Luna and Microsoft's collaboration with iFixit. Then we'll discuss the Simula One VR AR headset. And we will have another discussion on the topic of app development. Triggered by another episode of Linus Tech Tips One Show. Next episode will be a recap of 2021 and a sneak peek what I think will be interesting in 2022. That will go live on January 3rd, probably, if nothing gets in between. And yeah, so enjoy today's discussion. Hitting it off with our first topic. For those of you who are listening to this as podcast, I am always showing the articles that I'm discussing or the topics that I'm discussing. And you will be able to find those links in our show notes. They should be mentioned in the podcast description or down below in the video description. There should be the link to the show notes page, so you can get all the links and get all the details. So, first topic is the log4j exploit called log4shell. And this is a really major situation. The article that I have up is from The Verge. Actually, most of the articles today that I'm referencing are from The Verge. So, but that's not because I'm promoting them, but that was just where a lot of the sources for today pointed to. And yeah, so this exploit for log4j is so significant because log4j is a logging library for Java applications, and it is very widespread. So I know log4j as a developer for ages, and a lot of software is using log4j. As this article, for example, mentions um, Steam and even iCloud are affected. And discovered was a log4shell exploit um, in first in Minecraft servers. And this exploit allows you to get certain information um, from the logs so that you can actually get access to these systems and perhaps manipulate or steal data. And this is really significant. I actually have to say, Steam and iCloud are major services that are affected, that could be affected, as The Verge already mentioned in this article. Valve already got back to them and is saying that they checked Steam services, and the exploit is probably not affecting them. There was also a statement in the article that they got feedback from Apple, but they are not really covering what they are saying here. But much more major is, in my opinion, that basically a lot of bank and insurance company applications and also healthcare applications, infrastructure applications are written in Java. And a lot of them probably are using log4j for logging. And when reading this article, I did not actually see that this was referenced. So this is really, really a major, major issue. The CTO from Cloudflare, John Graham Cumming, also is referenced in this article of saying that this is the third most severe exploit of the past 10 years, together with Heartbleed and Shell Shock. And I definitely have to agree. So this is something that everyone has to check. The Log4j team already released an update for Log4j that addresses the issue. So everyone should upgrade their Log4j library installation immediately to remedy that issue. And everyone running Java applications, like for example Minecraft, I did not check if they updated it in the Minecraft server, but yeah, if you're running a Minecraft Java Edition server, then you definitely should check if there's an update, so that you can make sure that your server instance is no longer affected by this exploit. Yeah. So this is, of course, a problem like I discussed, I think last week, where you have, of course, very, very well-known libraries, and every developer nowadays relies on those. And when you have core libraries for like Log4j, that are really core libraries in a lot of instances, if they have exploits, then that affects, of course, a lot of systems. But in this case, this is still a very actively developed project. The issue got fixed very quickly, so there should not, hopefully, not sorry, hopefully, because of that issue being discovered and Log4j providing a quick fix, um, not much harm, hopefully, should have been done due to the issue. But it all depends, of course, in all affected parties updating their software and their instances in a timely manner. So this could still have effects in the future. So definitely something that we should look out for. That is my take on this. So let's go to our next topic. Where are we? There. And this is Dell's laptop concept Luna, which is pretty interesting. When you look at the article, you can see that they're they're really focusing on a modularity of the device, and therefore repairability. And it's interesting to see that Dell is also now taking this approach, because they it is a huge topic at the moment in the US, and it's good to see that they are working on projects like this, but it's currently unclear if Dell is going to follow through with this concept. And I'm just missing a point right now. Sorry. Yeah, this notebook they're basically showcasing is more of a Chromebook competitor concept, and it hey, why yeah, what's interesting is that they are putting the logic board, as you can see in this picture, I guess. Yeah, they're putting the motherboard behind the display. According to them, it's for having better cooling, and I'm not sure if it's really for repairability. I think in regards to repairability, it would be easier to have it in the normal place with the battery. But according to them, it's better for cooling. But due to the room constraints that you have in a big display assembly, uh, that a laptop cannot be very powerful. So that's why it falls more into the Chromebook category. But it's good to see new concepts, new ideas being executed, and let's hope that more modular concepts like this will show up in the market. So this doesn't remain a concept, but Dell is actually executing on that. Overall, Dell seems to be providing a lot of information for repairability already. So let's hope that this trend continues, because in the end, the consumer and nature are the winners when we make things more easy to repair and last longer. Therefore, you have less stuff in the landfill, and people can save money because they can reuse older technologies in new ways. Classic example is using a old laptop as a desktop PC or something, or creating a all-in-one out of it. There are a lot of DIY guides on the web that you can follow to accomplish something like that. So yeah, it's good to see. And on the same note, we have HP collaborating with iFixit in creating tools for service repair shops in order to properly open up Surface devices. The sad thing is, these tools are not for consumers, they are for professional service repair shops. And they are just special tools that Microsoft ordered from iFixit, or ordered to be made by iFixit for that purpose. And it's a bit weird because there are, of course, opportunities to do this already with other tools. So it's interesting that also Microsoft, instead of manufacturing these tools themselves, is partnering with iFixit. As other outlets have mentioned it, this reeks of some kind of PR stunt. And yeah. Sorry, I have to interrupt shortly. So I'm back. Sorry for that interruption. So back to our topic. Where was I? Yeah. So it will be interesting to see where Microsoft and iFixit are going with this, because the Surface products were notorious for being very glue heavy. And when you read this article from The Verge that I have up here, you see also statements from iFixit that they're a bit skeptical about the whole situation. So we have to see what is going to to have happen with that whole situation. And yeah, but overall, it's good to see that more stuff in regards to repairability is happening, and that Microsoft is at least thinking in the direction of providing tools for that particular case. So will be interesting to see in the next year where this is going. And we are already at our last news topic, and this is the Simula One standalone VR headset that will be running Linux. This headset has a very retro look. As you, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can see up here it on the article from Road to VR, and it's pretty boxy, and it has a very old school plastic look. And according to the information that are already out, they probably also support an also AR, so not only VR. And the whole thing is running Linux with their own open source Simula OS, which is a VR window manager. Interestingly, this Simula OS window manager can also be run on the Index and on the Vive Pro. And the headset will also support Ultra Leap hand tracking. More details will be available probably early next year, since Simula is planning on doing a Kickstarter campaign in January 2020. In January 2022. That's some kind of a tongue breaker for me, or tongue twister. And yeah, but I find this really interesting. So this headset is targeted towards more of enthusiasts and developers. And if you think about the rumors, perhaps, of Valve working on a Steam Deck technology-based headset, also running Linux, this could already be a pretty complementary technology, especially since it's open source and already running together with the Vive and Index. So that opens possibilities, and that would be pretty interesting to see what Simula is envisioning for this device. So I will probably be covering the Kickstarter next month when it launches, and looking at all the information that Simula is providing for the Simula One on that Kickstarter campaign. Yeah, that's already it for all the news that I have for you in this week, or for the last 2 weeks. So all the interesting stuff. And as mentioned earlier, I am going to talk based on this One Show episode from yesterday, where Luke from Floatplane mentioned again some experiences with the releases of their apps. And since I'm a app developer For the past few years myself, I have my 2 cents in that situation myself. Um, Luke here is talking about that yesterday he not yesterday last time or no, not last time, but 2 weeks ago on the WAN show he gave Apple a hard time for what they were doing with the App Store review process, which is pretty inconsistent at best. And I elaborated on that part also during our last podcast recording. And now he had a weird experience with Google and their Google Play Store for Android. And basically, they had trouble with a bug in the application that affects devices that are hard closing applications very frequently. One manufacturer that I know that is doing that very heavily is Huawei. And I encountered that with other apps that I supported in the past as well. And seems like Flowplan I encountered this the first time. Um, and yeah, so Google found the bug, wanted to do a manual review, and wasn't able to do that for missing credentials for logging in. And then they got the credentials and blocked the app from being released because the credentials were wrong. Where it turned out that they just mistyped the credentials. And yeah, so, and then they had to basically re-upload the application. The whole process was a bit weird. As he describes it, I'm not completely telling you what they're talking about. Watch the video. The link is in the show notes. But it's again pretty interesting, especially considering also from my experience the Android review process is actually less transparent than Apple's. Because Apple actually notifies you that your app could get a manual review at any time. If you're lucky, you don't have a manual review, and that depends on the standing of your application. But for Google, it's really weird. Sometimes you upload an application and it's basically available within minutes, and sometimes it takes days, and you don't know why. And as I already said in last episode, transparency in this process, and so that all parties involved, the developers, and of course the reviewers, know what the situation um, is really, really important. And this gives confidence to the developers, and in the end, also confidence to the users, depending on how thoroughly you are reviewing apps. Because from what I am getting, Google is only reviewing applications when there had been issues or when there is something that triggers a review. But they're not vetting applications in the same way Apple does. And that's why you can find a lot more controversial applications on the Play Store than on the App Store. And as I have said in the past, I really like the strict vetting process that Apple does, because I don't want any fishy applications on my device that I'm carrying in my pocket all day and I'm relying on to find my way through my day, and I have to rely on that to do my daily business. And this is an important, my phone is an important tool to me, and I don't want junk interfering with that. That's that's a risk that you have on Android. You don't run antiviruses on an iPhone. You have to if you really want to be secure on Android. So that's that's my complaint with the whole situation. And yeah, so basically, bottom line is the same as uh, last week's or last time's, that it's really important for companies like Google and Apple, and also Huawei, um, who are now having their own app store, the app gallery, because they are not allowed to use the Google services anymore, um, to really be open and transparent on the review process. Uh, Compared to Google, Huawei at least says, yes, we are reviewing your application. So we are testing the application. You also have to provide testing credentials, like on the Apple App Store. And yeah, it's important to have that transparency, so you can, as a developer, know what is going to happen with your application, and then you can act accordingly. And of course, if you are providing credentials for a company to test your application, then those employees should make sure that they are testing your app accordingly and using the correct credentials. And if, like I said last time, your application is specifically designed for a particular device type, like on the Apple case, for iPhone and iPod use only, test it on the proper device class. Test it on an iPhone or an iPod. Why are you testing apps on a tablet when the developer itself did not vet the application for that device class? So, yeah, that is just my 2 cents on that whole topic. And I hope that there will be some change in the industry in the future that addresses these issues. And this brings us to the end of my list of topics for this week. I hope you enjoyed the technology podcast episodes in 2021, and I hope you will be back with the next one episode in 2022, and it will probably launch on January 3rd, and will be a recap of 2022 and a look in what's coming up in 2022. So, thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find the show notes either linked directly in the podcast description or on the video below, or you can just head to my blog, bnonet.com. There you will find everything, and I am also releasing the individual topics of the podcast episodes now as separate short form videos on YouTube. So if you want to share a particular topic to friends and family, you can do that. Or if you in the future want to just see the segments that are interesting you, head over to my YouTube. It's linked in the blog. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, you can just go to my channel and click on those individual topics there. So I wish you all a nice, quiet, and healthy holiday season, and I see you in 2022. Goodbye. So that concludes our recording part. Sorry for the short interruption earlier, but I had a quick phone call that I had to take, and so since I'm a bit time constrained today, I am not able to do a long Q&A or discussion section, and I don't have any bonus topics for you today. Was already pretty quiet in regards to new topics, so I'm at least glad that I had the list that I was able to present to you earlier. I hope you all enjoyed the discussions of today's episode. If you have comments, questions, feel free to put them in chat right now. If not, I am going to close it for today. So let's see if there are some. Not very much viewers today for the stream, but yeah, this is also a different time than normal, since I am time constrained this weekend. So I'm getting out or getting done the recording today, and the regular episode release for the podcast will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European time, and the YouTube release is at 8 p.m. Central European time, and the podcast release on Spreaker is at 8:30 p.m. as normal. So, but I can prepare that, and can all happen independent of my travels today. So I have to get ready soon, and I am going to get tested before traveling. So everyone that I interact with is safe in these crazy times, despite me being already vaccinated. So I definitely encourage everyone, when you're interacting with other people, get tested yourself, either officially or with self-tests. Since I can't do the self-tests, I am going to an official testing station. So yeah, I don't see any questions or comments, so I am going to close it for today. Thank you very much for watching. As already mentioned earlier, next live stream recording for the podcast will be on January 3rd, but there will be a lot more live streams in the next week, since I'm starting my vacation on Tuesday, and I will be probably streaming Half-Life Alyx and Beat Saber in the next couple of days. If you want to find recordings, then you can definitely check my YouTube channel for all the previous podcasts and segments, and of course also live streams. So, thank you very much for watching, and again, have a nice and healthy holiday season. And if you're just here for the podcast, we will see us again in early 2022. And if you're also watching my other streams, then you will have opportunities to get in touch before that. So have a nice day, and see you next time.